इतना सा फर्क है कुछ होने में और बहुत कुछ होने में। इतना सा फर्क है एक बार सोच के छोड़ देने में और लग के कर दिखाने में। मान लेने में कि जिंदगी ऐसे ही कटेगी और सुबह 4 बजे उठ के सोचने में कि अभी तो बस शुरुआत है। किसी मैगजीन को हाथ में लेने में और उसी मैगजीन के कवर पेज पे होने में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वीआईपी सीट में और उसकी पिछली सीट में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वो जिसका मैदान ही खुला आसमान है वही कल जमीन पर तो था। पूछोगे तो बताएगा वो पंछी कि एक दायरे में सिमटने में और पूरी दुनिया को दायरा बनाने में बस इतना सा फर्क है। इतना कितना है? इतना है या इतना है? जो नापेगा वो जाने कि जहां धरती और आसमान मिलते हैं, नानकुर से दूर, अगर मगर शायद से दूर, वहां भी दोनों में फर्क बस इतना सा है। धरती और 7वें आसमान में फर्क बस इतना सा है। ये एक अंतर प्रेरणा है। ये हमारी, आपकी, हम सब की अंतर प्रेरणा है। एक कदम, एक छलांग, एक बाजी, एक गहरी सांस और एक ललकार खुली हवाओं में कि हाँ मैं बना हूं उन फिजाओं के लिए, कि हाँ मैं बना हूं उन ऊंचाइयों के लिए जो ऊंची तो बहुत हैं पर नामुमकिन भी नहीं, क्योंकि मुमकिन और नामुमकिन में बस इतना सा फर्क है। धूप छांव में फर्क बस इतना सा है। तो बस चलिए फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया के साथ ये फर्क मिटा देते हैं। फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया, 20 years of ideas.
Thank you so much, Satyam, for playing the corporate video of Franchise India that truly depicts the kind of the vision and mission we follow for our investors as well as for our brands. Good afternoon, everyone. We welcome all of you to our Business Opportunity Over Chai webinar series. This is a specially designed webinar digital presentation of the business opportunity we have got for you. We have invited the leadership team from the brand side so that you understand their business model. We have divided this particular session into 2 parts. First, we'll take you through the presentation from our brand side. Then we'll move towards a panel discussion. We request each one of you to make it very interactive by sharing your viewpoint, suggestion, as well as queries in question and answer box. Our panel member, Gaurav sir and Sonia ma'am, would be taking these questions during our panel discussion. We welcome both of them. Gaurav sir and Sonia ma'am hosting this particular webinar for the benefit of all the investors. And the business opportunity which we are representing today is Mumbai Chai. Mumbai Chai comes from Bombay. Mumbai Chai has been proudly serving its customer in and around the Bombay. Besides their special chai, the cafe also serves 12 different variety of hot and cold beverages. And today they are talking about the multi-unit and unit franchise model, which they're offering in market. They're already having a strong presence with 8 running successfully outlets. Today we have invited Mr. Sanjeev, who is a co-founder at Mumbai Chai, to talk about his initiative as well as his business opportunity. But before I formally invite him to share his screen, talk about the brand, I would request Satyam to play a video on Mumbai Chai.
Thank you so much, Pashna, for this video. And I'd like to welcome Sanjeev ji for coming on this webinar. And I welcome all our friends for coming on this webinar. This is a very important opportunity for all our friends based out of Bombay and Maharashtra. And a little bit about Sanjeev ji. Friends, he is a very seasoned entrepreneur, and I am Kolkata graduate, and he comes with the rich experience of founding and running tea brands for the last 7 odd years. And he also carries more than 20 years of rich experience overall in marketing, customer services, and also sales, where he has worked with giants like Tata, Godrej, UTC, and Samsung. And the company Bombay Chai also has some of the industry icons who are a part of the management, and they have spent the last 1.5 years perfecting their business model. They have launched the existing small formats already operating in Bombay City, and also their team has selected certain important locations where anybody who's keen to look at these locations could look at both unit franchisee and a multi-unit franchisee. Now, without getting into much details on the business model, I'll now request Sanjeev ji if he can initiate the presentation. And friends, I will also request if you have any questions with respect to the business model, you can use the Q&A box that you see on the screen at the bottom. We'll take all your questions towards the end of the webinar, and we'll answer as much as we can during the course of the presentation. Over to you, Sanjeev ji. Sanjeev ji, you're on mute. If I could request you to unmute yourself, please.
Can you hear me now?
Anji, yes.
Yeah, sorry.
So
So
can we
I'll just
also go
start.
full screen, because we can't see the entire screen. If we can go full screen on the presentation.
Can you see the full screen now?
No, we cannot. Maybe you can go on the view icon on the presentation and click on full screen.
Yeah.
Anji, better.
So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining in. My name is Sanjeev, and I am the co-founder and chief executive officer of Mumbai Chai Cafe chain. And today, I will just take you through this exciting opportunity of the micro chai cafe, which is very exciting in terms of its low investment, high profitability, and return of investment. Um, so, as I mentioned, see, there are some factors which needs to be considered while selecting a franchisee, and I will take you through those certain factors with respect to Mumbai Chai Cafe, and will help you to understand the brand, the positioning, the support that the company gives, and other commercial aspects. Okay. So I would like to introduce the promoters and the management team. We are four partners: Uday, Ganesh, Kavita, and myself. We have been into the business since quite a few years. In the past, we have built successful brands entirely through franchising network. So we come with an experience of more than 100 years in building businesses, successful business through franchising network. So we understand what is franchising. We know what it takes to make one franchisee successful. So way back in 2000, we built this brand called Euro Kids Preschools. When this particular concept was itself in very nascent stage, and the auntie next door was a main competition or the concept people always knew. As a natural progression, Euro School was founded in 2009. Now this particular network has more than 1,000 preschools and 12 K-12 schools across India. In 2015, we forayed into the F&B industry, wherein we built a brand called Tea Trails Cafe, which is a premium cafe. We wanted to build a brand which is synonymous to tea, the way Starbucks stands for coffee. We currently have 35 outlets in 10 cities. And in 2020, we decided to foray into the other spectrum of the market for mass population. That was Mumbai Chai Cafe. This is a micro cafe concept which is very famous in Western world, which we have adapted to suit the Indian market. So we come with an experience of more than 100 years, as I mentioned, building successful brands through franchise network in the past. So it is very important that we always understand the market of the business. So when it comes to a product, all brands pivot one product to build their brand. The way when we hear McDonald's, uh, we immediately realize it stands for burgers. When we hear Domino's, we know that they sell pizzas. When we hear about Starbucks, we understand they are for coffee. But it doesn't mean that they don't sell anything, they don't serve any other products, but they build their brand based on one single product. So they are very well known for that particular product and service. So similarly, our brand, while we are into a micro cafe concept where customer gets an offering which suits or which matches a cafe brand, we primarily building our brand through India's second largest consumed beverage, that is chai. The market for that particular product is humongous. So many may not understand what the market is all about. So I just would like to take you through the chai market in India. So the numbers are very eye-popping kind of numbers. Around 65-70% of the Indians drink chai regularly and 3 or more times, second only to water. Right, that is a huge number. I mean, 60-70% of the adult population in India is something like 70 crores, and if they are drinking 3 or more times, almost 200 cups of chai is being consumed. I'm not talking about business, but consumed every day, right? So you just can now put some numbers to it and understand the volume of business that happens, and that is second only to water. Whereas in water business, there are so many multinationals already into the business, where in this particular segment is still unexploited or unexplored. So the coffee versus chai consumption is very different. There are 30 odd cups of chai is being consumed against 1 cup of coffee. That is the ratio of this particular beverages being consumed in India. And chai is like petrol for Indians. We understand it is driven by chai. So consumed, the beauty of this particular product is it is consumed across all strata of society, irrespective of age, gender, class, religion, or caste, right? So that particular market is almost 35,000 crore market, which is dominated by unorganized players. I mean, roadside tapri and roadside vendors. That is 99%. That is an unorganized segment which we are trying to organize it. So what we are, we as a brand, what do we stand for? What are our offering? That's what I would like to take you through. So as I mentioned, Mumbai Chai, this is the brand that we have built over the last 2 years. The low investment, high profit micro cafe concept, first of its kind franchise business opportunity. So it's a very low investment, high profit, it's a cafe concept, okay, micro cafe concept. So the mission was like is always like to serve every Indian his favorite chai and other item. As I mentioned, our menu has got more than 40 items, and we want to serve the customers with fresh and high quality ingredients in a very hygienic condition without compromising on the food price. I mean the affordable price. So the prices are ranging from 10 to 60-70 rupees. That's how most of the products have been priced. So it is very much affordable for common man. So So the vision is definitely to build more than 1,000 outlets in in a span of next 10 years, which we have done it in the past, and we are sure that with this kind of a concept we can build it in future also. So brand
Friends, we'll just check. We cannot hear Mr. Sanjeev Vaishnav. Can you please call and
Yes,
check
yes,
in
ma'am.
case
I'm
he is
just
talking?
calling you. Just.
Hello?
Yes, sir, we can go on.
Can you see it in the full screen or it's in the
You can go
normal
for
mode?
normal screen. You can press Control S.
Just a minute. Actually, there is a power cut in this area, so suddenly the power went off and I was disconnected from the meeting. Yeah, I believe now you guys can see the screen, full screen.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so the brand outlet is the outlet is around 152. So that means it's a small format, the investment is less, the operation cost is less. At the same time, like many other outlets or the formats which observes a lot of challenges in terms of operating hours, we have an opportunity to operate more than 12 to 18 hours. That means less pressure on sales per hour, or we have opportunities of having multiple peak hours of sales. So that is an advantage for this particular format. And we have, as I mentioned, it's a cafe menu with more than 40 plus items in our menu, more than 20 odd beverages and 25 food items. And we have central kitchen which operates with more than 65 items in our menu. So we do introduce new products as and when it is required, as per the customer market demand. We keep on upgrading our menus as well. that helps the franchisees and the outlet business very well. So as a business, we are open to different channels of revenues. You need to develop different channels of revenue. So we have developed different opportunities, like customers do walk in. We have facilities to customer taking away the products. We do delivery our F&B products through our own websites, as well as through Zomato and Swiggy website. So investment side, as well as the offering for customers, and the different channels of revenues. These are the key format highlights. So as I mentioned, it's an inclusive cafe menu. You can look at this cafe menu, beverage menu, and food menu. There are more than 40 items with more than 10-15 categories. And this particular menu is always being upgraded to customer demands, market demands, and there is a system, or there is a central kitchen which helps the outlets to cater to these kind of requirements. Yeah, this is our online delivery portal through which we deliver our food. We not only depend on the food aggregators in the market, but we also try to create our own, customer base and customer delivery systems for our franchises. Then there is a retail line of products which we sell through our outlet. A customer who likes any one of our products can take the product home, and that is a great another channel for revenue for our outlets. So how do we deal in terms of our products? It's very unique selling proposition. It's the quality, the freshness, special recipes and preparation method, and high level of hygiene. These are the key four focus areas that we have in our outlet when it comes to products and service. So another question generally people do ask is, what is the support the company provides to the franchisees? As I mentioned, because of our experience in the past, and the way we have built our successful business through franchising, we understand what it takes to take a franchisee business to make it successful. So it's very important that we support franchisees in all manner. I mean, there would be scope where most of the franchisors do not support the franchisee, considering it is franchisee's lookout. But we don't consider it that way, because franchisee's success is our success. His failure is our failure. So it would affect our business as well. Each franchisee is a brick for our business house. So that is why we take utmost care while recruiting a franchisee, as well as building their business. So the support that we provide: number one, they get a proven business model. No need to reinvent. The complete business model is analyzed and done the R&D to the core, and that's how we have launched a franchising model. Whatever mistakes or experiments that we want to do, we always have done it before launching franchising model. Long association, it is a 5-year franchisee agreement plus renewable after 5 years. So it's long association of franchisor franchisee agreement. And as I mentioned during my menu description, so new items as per market trends. The evolution of the business is always continuous. So you need to introduce new products, new way of serving customers, new channel of revenue. So those are the things that we always continuously do our R&D at the back end. And whenever we introduce anything new, the complete training for the franchisee is completely free of cost. So we don't charge any training or any sort of other charges to franchisees when we introduce a new product or service. Assistance in identifying and finalizing the suitable property cafe. Location is very, very important for this particular business. So we ensure that the franchisee gets the right kind of location for our business so that he doesn't get into any kind of trouble, afterwards. So as I mentioned, um, we select locations scientifically. We do a detailed survey of each and every location that we finalize. Before finalizing, we do a survey of those locations and then discuss that with the franchisee and then take a decision on the location. So next is like guidance in rent negotiation, rent structuring, and rent agreement. Our legal team handhold the franchisee in those aspects. So most of the franchisees are new to this particular part of agreement, leave and license agreement. Most of them would have done an agreement for their residential purposes, domestic purposes, but most of them don't know the nitty-gritties of the rent negotiation, rent structuring, and rent agreement. We help them identifying and make the whole deal supportive to franchisee. We also guide them in company formation in case if they want. It could be a proprietorship, it could be a partnership, it could be a private limited, and necessary licenses and all other legal requirement. We guide them in getting those things in place. We also design the cafe and the equipment layout completely free of cost. There is no extra charges applied on architectural fee or design fee. So once we do designing and decide on the cost of the project, we then even allow the franchisee to construct the outlet themselves. This is purely comes from philosophy that we are not into construction business, we are into F&B business. So we also need to respect certain skills that a franchisee might bring onto the table, that he might have some resources to get these things done at a much cheaper cost. So we only will get involved if franchisee wants us to do it. Otherwise, franchisee is free to get the project done from his side. Of course, he needs to ensure that the standards and specifications given by us, and there they can do it themselves. So then it comes to recruitment of staff. We support in recruitment of cafe staff. We have maintained our business model in such a way that the cafe operations are very simple. The operation at the cafe is based on 5 steps. They either have to boil, they otherwise have to fry or grill, and then assemble it and serve it. So these are the 5 steps a franchisee staff has to conduct. So it's very simple. So we have kept any skilled labors out of this context. So our staff are unskilled, easy to find, and they are cost effective. And then we train the cafe owner as well as cafe staff on F&B production and SOP. We do training for them completely to bring them onto the required standards. We also supply raw and finished material to maintain 5 major objectives. One is standard, second is consistency, third is, as I mentioned, simple operation, zero wastage, and inventory management. That is to avoid pilferation. So these are the 5 objectives that we have when we are supplying key ingredients or supply of raw or finished materials to the outlet. So it becomes much more easier for franchisee to run the outlet because he doesn't need to run from pillar to post to arrange certain things. So it is over a period of time we want to make the complete supply chain as a single point shopping window. And of course, we do regular audit to assess the performance of the business, training and guidance and corrective action as required. So we continuously assess the performance of the staff and the outlet, and we help the franchisee to identify the area of improvement and help them to overcome those challenges. Of course, mentoring from experienced entrepreneurs who have been in the business, and so mentoring means any sort of challenges that you might face during the course of the business, or you want to expand your business, any business discussions, we are always there to help you, to mentor and guide you. So these are the support that we provide to the franchisees. Of course, on the marketing front, we conduct online as well as offline campaigns to build the business, establish the business, and grow the business, right? So we run different occasional marketing as well as product-based marketing at our road. Of course, we are available online as well as Google Business, Facebook, Instagram, Zomato, and Swiggy for customers to find us, reach our product. So these are some customer feedback after they visiting our outlets. So you just can quickly go through it and understand yourself. Customers are liking it. It is one place where they get to experience different products. It is not a single product brand. We not only serve chai, though we are a chai focused brand. We have a cafe menu which differs or differentiate us from other brands in the market. And secondly, the investment part is very low, and probably one third of other brands offers. So that is a kind of investment that we offer to our franchises. Yeah, so the numbers, which is very important, people, you know, what is the kind of investment generally this particular model will attract. So we don't hide anything. There is no cost. So everything is mentioned in terms of investment, in terms of cash requirement or fund requirement. There are two different terminologies. One is fund requirement. Second one is investment. Fund requirement also will include certain amounts which are not investment, but it is required for the business to start, etc. Which are returnable, refundable, all those stuff. So this is the investment breakup. Number one is franchisee. Franchisee fee is 2 lakh rupees plus GST for a 5-year term. After 5 years, it is renewable at 50% of the franchisee fee. Outlet setup around 4 to 4.5 lakh rupees is what we have seen. Whether you do it yourself, whether you get it done through our authorized vendors, the budget will be somewhere around that. This is estimate and purely will be on actuals. Of course, if you don't have your own place, if you want to go for a rented place, if it takes some agents help in getting a good place, then they will charge us somewhere between 15 to 30 days rent. This money gets into the fund requirement. Then it comes to license fee. There are 4 licenses that we require to get this business run up and running. That is FSSI, health license, shop and establish, and fire NOC. Shop and establish and fire NOC are zero government fees. FSSI will cost around 2,000 rupees. Health will cost around 1,500 rupees depending upon the ward. But I have mentioned still 10,000 to 15,000. There would be some professional fees or managing fees to get these licenses. Marketing costs, it is completely on a provisional basis. Decision is completely on franchisee and the location that we select. There are many locations which are self promotable or self it stand out in the market. So there is no much marketing is required, but in certain cases, depending upon the locations, we would some sort of marketing to be kept. But for this kind of a format, 50% is too way higher marketing cost, but still we provision it in case if we require. And then returnable rent deposit, 3 to 6 months rent. That is what generally people, landlords in Mumbai area demand for or settle for. So that is a kind of, if you have a 30,000, 40,000 rent, then 1 to 1.5 lakhs would be the deposit that we will have to manage. So that also comes under kind of a fund requirement. The total amount that is required, the fund requirement is around 8 lakhs, an investment of 6.5 lakh. So this is a outlet generally observes about 500 to 1,000 customers depending upon its location. So I have taken an average of 750 customers. Out of 10 customers, 3 to 4 customers consumes other than a beverage, they take the food from the food menu. So for a revenue of around 3.5 lakhs rupees per month, after getting the expenses, you actually will end up making a profit of around 85,000 rupees. Still, I would say keep around 10,000-15,000 rupees as an unexpected expenses or contagious expected. Still, actually, you will make around 75,000 rupees per month. So this is the kind of P&L. So the investment is low. We have seen the different revenue opportunities that we have. We are seeing the operational cost is also on the lower side, like whether it is rent, whether it is on the salary side, so whether it is on the other miscellaneous expenses, the expense side is also on the lower side. So your profit, the net return from the business per month is pretty on the higher side. So with this kind of a return, you actually can make your return of investment. I'm not saying return on investment. Return of your investment can be 9 to 10 months on paper. I still say that you can consider 12 months, because in 12 months you cannot expect these kind of numbers from day one, month one. You would require 3 to 4 months to build your business to that potential. So once you build your business to that potential, then you can expect that money to come back to you within 9 to 10 months. So that's how, where I always say, though on paper you can see it as 9 to 10 months, you always consider 12 months of return of your investment. Yeah, so these are the location as Sonia suggested. We already have few locations in those areas where we have done our survey and have shortlisted. Of course, good locations are not going to stay for long. The pipeline in which they stay for 7 to 10 days, that is when we need to close the deals as quickly as possible. So anyone who is interested in these areas can quickly come back to us, then we can try to close the deal as soon as possible. That's all from my side. So
Thank you.
you're all welcome to ask any questions. Over to Sonia.
Thanks, Sanjeev. And friends, I look forward. जो भी आपके questions हैं, please use the Q&A box, and we'll take up these questions from Mr. Sanjeev. And I feel the overall presentation was quite substantial. It covers every important aspect any investor needs to understand. But if you're looking at any location specifically, I will go through some of your questions. I have been replying on some of the questions. Please use Q&A, and I'll take your questions immediately. So, starting with the business and any investor. The top priority for any investor today is company people behind credibility of promoters and before they invest in any company. And I feel with the kind of legacy, the commitment of people, including Mr. Uday Mathur, who has been an icon. He's been running the India's largest preschool chain, and Sanjeevji himself being an experienced entrepreneur. So the overall management comes with a very big experience and very rich experience overall from their professional and entrepreneur, and also on the industry itself, which is tea. And needless to say, like Sanjeevji also mentioned, tea is the most consumed beverage after water. It has something which is very universal in terms of their appeal. And this category has started seeing a very high speed of departure, from unorganized to organized. And as people are getting conscious, about safety and hygiene. And today, the need is to replicate an experience of a roadside vendor into a clean and hygienic environment. So the business opportunity, friends, we're talking about is a low investment, very inclusive offering. These are micro cafes, as rightly put by Sanjeev. And this micro cafe is a very interesting space to be in. It needs very low investment, enables a faster break even than a full-fledged cafe. And also other interesting thing is also about the repeat customers, which many experiential or I would say destination cafes would not have. A product like this or a micro cafe like this has a comparatively a high repeat customer because you have a captive audience and it is driven by convenience. Trading hours are long, and I saw about 10 to 11 odd hours on an average other trading hours. So which means there's a higher throughput, better efficiency, and they're offering budget tea, which is their specialty. And in addition to that, we also have a range of snack items, and which starts as small as rupees 10. Right. So, and the snacks are under 45-50 on an average. The area requirement is about 150 square feet to about 200 square feet of space, so which is very tighter, sharper business model. And picking a strategic location is very important, which can help you garner the attention of your target group. And at the same time, you need to also combat a lot of overheads like the rental, which is very high, right? So locations are very important, and this business is all about density. It means largely an impulse business, and which has an access to customer, and typically locations which are closer to transportation hubs. Like I saw one of the locations which is closer to a metro, office areas, IT parks. These are some of the locations which are ideal for putting a business like this. The operations, as you also witnessed, are very simple, unlike the F&B, where people feel these are complex operations one cannot manage. This is EDR proof model. No specialized staff is also needed. So I'll start taking your questions, friends, and and you can keep writing your questions. So Sanjeev ji, my first question, because when you were talking on the last slide on the expenses, we saw there was no royalty, and typically in a business like this, also royalty component which companies charge. So are we charging a royalty in the model, or this is a royalty free model?
Yeah, Sonia. So it's absolutely a zero royalty model. We believe that in such model, such formats, the franchisee needs to be given better space to do their business and earn better, right? Franchisers, my objective is to build a good network of good franchisees, and royalty is not that so important for us to get into at this point in time. So it's purely a zero royalty model as of now.
Now I'll go, because you are an experienced entrepreneur. You have been running the business of tea for nearly 7 odd years, from a premium or an experiential tea cafe to a transactional, which is very budget. I would like to pick your mind on, how you see the current, landscape, receptiveness of people, and also a little bit about the last 7 years of yours, starting the business, running the business, and now venturing into a different space altogether in the same category.
Yeah, so I have been personally in F&B industry since last 7-8 years. After my stint with some of the multinationals, as you mentioned in the beginning. So what I have observed in F&B was it's a very competitive field, right? And if you have a product range, and especially product range which appeals to the mass with the right combination of pricing, the business is going to be very lucrative, right? And the next challenge, what we have observed, is the continuous market demand. Okay, the evolution of the market or market trends that we see. If you don't cope up with those trends, then you're out of the game immediately. So that's what another challenge that we have always observed for our network. So these are the learnings that we had in the last few years, and that's what we have completely applied in this Mumbai Chai Cafe. So one thing, as you rightly said, if you look at the competition in the market for this kind of a space, most of them are focusing on a single product, model. The challenge with single product is, for example, my outlet observe 500 to 1,000 customers per day, and if such a brand serves around 500 customers a day, their revenue is stagnated at around 5 to 6,000 rupees, depending upon their the menu that they have. And that's exactly why we decided that we don't want to get into that space. There is a much better space of micro cafes, which actually will help the franchisee to make better revenues from the setup. 500 customers coming to my outlet actually end up spending almost 20-25 rupees. So that totally takes away my revenue to 8 to 10,000 rupees per day. Whereas with 500 customers, other brands are able to generate only 5 to 6,000 rupees. That is simply by walk-in. And the whole planning was to create different revenue generation channels for franchisee. They should have, once they invest in a place, starting a business, they should have multiple channels to generate revenue, channels to service their customers. That was the next objectives that we had, and that is what we have created and continuously creating and exploring opportunities to create such kind of revenue channels. Thirdly is the margin. margin in this space is very, very small, okay, because of the ticket size or the pricing of the products in the menu. Say for a product of 10 rupees, who can expect a margin of more than 20-30%? But with our experience in the past, since we procure everything from the farmers directly, we are able to give them a better quality, better pricing and quality. And our products, our thumb rule for making the margin is like franchisees should make an average of 50% of on their all products. If my franchisee is selling something at 10 rupees, its food cost should not go beyond 50%. If he's selling at something at 20 rupees, his cost should not be more than 10 rupees. So that is the thumb rule that we have applied and worked backwards and put ourselves under pressure to deliver those results to our franchisees. That's what we have been doing. And 50% margin on food is very, very high for such kind of format. Okay, so even the premium brands get only 70% margin. Okay, 70% profit. Here they are getting 50% profit margin. So that is a beauty of this particular format that we have built, which other brands are not able to provide to their franchisees. So on the other side, then I spoke about serving from channel kitchen. So, standardization, consistency, zero wastage, pilferage. Even we are trying to convert all kilograms, grams, liters, milliliters, unit of measurement that we have learned during school days and we apply on a day-to-day basis into numbers, so that the franchisee is able to easily manage their inventories and check their inventories for pilferage anytime they want. So those are the systems, processes that we give to the franchisees so that their business is successful. They're able to manage the business, easily, compared to other brands available. And of course, investment is as low as around 5 lakhs for the infrastructure and another 2 lakhs for franchisee. Whereas you won't get such kind of a brand offer in the market for 5 to 7 lakh rupees brand, bracket.
I agree, Sanjeevji. I think most of the companies we work with, the minimum investment, even for a format like this, starts anything which is upwards of about 8 to 10 lakhs minimum. And on an average, the franchise fees is also upwards of 3 to 4 lakhs average. And adding to that, because we have kept very small margins, and we are extending those margins to a franchisee, keeping the pricing of the product very, very low to ensure we have a very high repeat case. And there's no royalty which is also being given, and that royalty percentage is also the margins which I would say the franchisee retains with him. On an average, any company would look at about 6 to 8% of margins, 6 to 8% of royalties which are passed on to the franchisor on the top line that we do. So, Sanjeevji, I'll also pick, we broadly discussed on the overall investment. So two things, one is on the initial investment, which we talked about, and we have kept about 4 odd lakhs, 4 to 4.5 lakhs, which is on the interiors improvement and other investment which is required. Would you want to give a breakup of that investment? Because I did see one of our participants also asking what all would be a part of that setup.
Yeah, I'll just share that information also.
I did see Mr. Mihir, I think from Bombay. He also asked about the billing desk and the software, if that also becomes a part of that investment.
Yes, yes, that is also included. So, if you can see, can you see the?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
So this is basically the 4.5 lakh rupees of investment, and this will be on. Again, I'm saying will be on actuals, but it's the broad bracket level in which this particular segment will fall in. So civil, electrical, plumbing, CCTV, the security system, 50,000 to 1 lakh rupees. Why I mentioned a small bracket, because it all depends on the kind of unit that we get, right? I mean, some unit may not require any kind of such activities, but many of the units may be rug down units where you would need to do some flooring, you would need to do some kind of painting and all that stuff. So that is on actual second. Electrical equipments depends on the menu that we bring in, but more or less the menu that I have showed, this is the kind of electrical equipment. We actually connect you to the OEM manufacturers. We have got tie-ups with the OEM manufacturers so that you get the best price in the market. You won't even get those prices from anywhere else because we have done the deals on volumes, and we are not selling these products because the OEM manufacturers will give the that kind of a service warranties and service standards because of the tie-up that we have. As I said, we are not into manufacturing, we are not into construction, we are purely into F&B. So this connection will be done with the OEM manufacturers. Then SS infrastructure, where it will be a customized one, depending upon the outlet, whatever infrastructures that we require, our architect will come and inspect the site and will work out. So tentatively 1 lakh rupees will require. Utensils and other kitchen appliances will be around 25,000 rupees. That again depends on the volume of the business that we expect, the kind of menu that we put, and local purchases around 10,000 rupees. These are purely item which doesn't make sense to supply to be supplied from my central kitchens, like vegetables and certain items which are locally available, easily available. Then signage, menu, branding, around 40,000 rupees. Then brand startup kit, as somebody asked me whether it will include the POS machine. Yes, it will include the POS machine, other branding stuff. Then there would be uniforms for the staff. So all those items which brand can supply, those are the brand identities that will be supplied to them. So this is the breakup of that 4.5 lakh rupees which I mentioned.
So this is very helpful, and friends, like Sanjeev ji mentioned, this can also be procured as per the guidelines of the company, and the company can also help you procure these. All right, that's helpful. Sanjeev ji, my second question would be on the operating expenses, and we talked about the manpower which is needed, and especially because all supply chain would come from you, or major part of the supply chain which comes from the company. What kind of manpower do we actually need? And we would need 5, and is that 5 on the higher side? Because I feel for an area of 150 200 square feet, even a manpower of about 3 odd people should be good enough to get started.
So this manpower is completely dependent on certain factors. One is the number of hours the outlet works. So you will have to run multiple shifts, or we need to plan your compounds and all that. On the other side, the number of amount of business that you do. I mean, the number of customers that you serve, you might need helping hands. Thirdly, what we have developed as a brand is a concept of keeping the operations very simple at the outlet. As I mentioned, there are only 5 steps of service that these guys have to do. Either they have to boil something, or else they will have to fry something, or else they will have to grill something. After doing this, they have to assemble it and serve the customer. So these are the 5 steps that they have to do it. For this, we really don't need a chef or cook or a skilled manpower, which will cost high, and we will be completely depending upon those guys going forward. One fine morning, franchisee will have an heart attack when he hears that his cook is not going to come for 3 days. So his certain items in the menu will not be able to be served to the customer. So those are the dependency that a particular outlet can generate. So we are avoiding all those stuff. We are saying the way we conduct our interview is very simple. Like, are you willing to work in F&B industry? If he says yes, we don't even ask whether he has got the experience or not. Even if he is a fresher, we take them on board and we train them for 5 days to make that person capable to handle this operation. So you are the manpower will be easily available, and secondly, those kind of guys will come cheaper. Your operational cost also will be less compared to skilled manpower. Unskilled labor and inexperienced guys comes cheaper, and we take all those headaches onto our side, on our central side, and take care of all those challenges and keep the operation simple at the outlet level. So 3 to 4 manpower also is good enough. There are outlets which runs with 3 to 4 manpower also. Depending upon the amount of time that they need to operate and the involvement of franchisees also. I mean, certain outlets, when franchisee, there are a couple of partners and they themselves sit, so then there is manpower, the requirement manpower also comes down. So it also needs to be worked out. I mean, involvement of franchisee, how many hours a franchisee can get involved. If they cannot get involved, then there should be a replacement for their absence. So all those stuff needs to be considered. So 3 to 4 is also a very good number that we can work out. So I have taken 5 because the volume on those numbers are on the higher side.
And also the shift, because these are long trading hours which are needed to.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Right.
So there are outlets which starts at 5:30 in the morning, runs till 11:30 in the night, and there are outlets which starts at 8 o'clock and runs till 8 o'clock. So depending upon the hours that is required to be operated, depending upon the potential of the market, we have.
It's helpful, Sanjeev ji. We have the last couple of minutes, friends. If you have any questions, keep writing in. And we also have a special discovery day that we are planning in the next week, and rather 3 days from now. And we'll take up all your queries on that day. All of you who are from Bombay, we would rather want that you have one-to-one meeting with Mr. Sanjeev and his team. And all of you who can be a part of the tasting session, we're organizing that as well. And so very quickly, this is an opportunity which is about 5.5 lakhs, zero royalty model, low investment. The company also has spoken to some of the locations where you can get a property. And like Sanjeev ji mentioned, these locations are prime locations. So we don't have too much of waiting time in these locations, because these locations go very, very fast, because these are strategic locations. And another thing which I would like to also say, opportunities like these, because they come with comparatively a very low investment. If you're looking at multiple locations, I would say 3 to 4 locations, that is ideal for an investor also to be looked at, which would not be beyond 60-20 lakhs of an investment if you look at 3 to 4 such locations, which can be a combination of strategic locations. It can be, some upcoming locations which you can go ahead with. So the current locations which the company is running include Santa Cruz. It has operations in Malad, Ville Parle, Borivali, and Kalyan. That was something that was asked by one of our participants on the webinar, Mr. Atif. And Sanjeev, I'll take one question, and this was asked by Mr. Pratik from Navi Mumbai. He's saying, is Navi Mumbai a location that we're looking at? And if yes, which are the spots that you think would be good for a uh, outlet of Mumbai Chai? Sanjeev, would you want to take that? So Navi Mumbai, is that location open? And the second, what are the locations or the spots in
Yeah,
Navi Mumbai that?
so in Navi Mumbai, see, yeah, so Sonia, the point is there are so many locations in Navi Mumbai. So if specifically Pratik needs any desired location, if he has got any desired location, we can further scout appropriate location for him in that area, not an issue.
Sure. That's helpful. Sorry. All right. And lastly, Sanjeev ji, while Bombay is the territory, would you want to talk about which are the other cities that we are open outside Bombay?
So till now we have been focusing in Mumbai because of the lockdown constraints that we had. So, but now things are opening up, and we are open for major cities in Maharashtra, as well as multi units or master franchisees for other major cities in India. So in Maharashtra, we are open for Pune, Nagpur, Nasik, Aurangabad. You take any major cities where we can identify suitable locations. So it's not difficult to identify suitable locations. Let me assure you, because for the price range that we offer to the customers, anybody in the population or the target audience can consume, right? A normal person, a labor class as well as a working class, an executive class, all those guys comes to our outlet because they get good product at an affordable price. That's what they take. For example, I'll tell you, we have burgers and fries and milkshakes in our menu. So if somebody wants to order a happy meal from McDonald's, they end up spending around 300, 400 rupees, wherein you'll be surprised that in our menu, total cost of all these products comes to 90 rupees. So that is a kind of difference in terms of pricing. And believe me, people do regularly come. The college guys, though the colleges are not operational, one of our outlets in Vilepale has college crowd. They come and sit in our, in and around the outlet, and they consume all these stuff. They're liking it. I mean, they have got a very small pocket, the pocket money that they have cannot afford to go to McDonald's every time. So they come to us. So the rickshawalas have their lunch for 22 rupees, 25 rupees with a cup of chai and a vada pav or samosa pav. So those are the opportunities that we have and the kind of people. So these kind of locations are pretty available. So it's not so difficult to find good locations. But the point is that good locations are available only for a short
Sure.
period of
That's very
time, 7 to
important.
10
Yes,
days. They
yes.
go very fast. Everybody is eyeing
Right.
those locations.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct. And that's very important. So I do see somebody else. I don't have your name. Yes, Ghatkopar Central Bombay is also open, so we can even look at that. And I would also add that the team at Bombay Chai, Mumbai Chai also has a real estate team who can also help you scout locations if you commit to take a franchisee, because this process absolutely takes some time and commitment for these locations. So if you're keen, please reach out on the hotline number and the email ID. I'll request Ashna if we can place that. And friends, we're holding a discovery day on 3rd of December, which is 2 days from now. All of you who want to get into one-to-one discussion, have a meeting, come to the outlet, taste the product, whatever that may be, please reach out to us. We have a Bombay teams who are working on the project, and they will come back to you for all the queries that you have raised. They will share the entire presentation, financial that needs to be done. And before we close, Sanjeev ji, I'll request if there's a final word, a message that you have for the entire audience, which is listening both live as well as on the webinar.
Yeah, so this is a great opportunity, I would say, for the people who want to step into a business world. Franchising is a stepping stone to get into the business. Okay, that's what we always believe. If somebody wants to do a business and want to explore the ocean of business, franchising is the stepping stone to the business world. There is an organization which supports a franchisee to build their business, guide them, and be there with all their ups and downs. Okay, so this is a great opportunity because the investment levels are pretty low, the risk factors are pretty low, and the return on investment is pretty high. Moreover, the opportunity in the market for such kind of a format is very, very, very high. You know, the numbers I just have told you: 70 crores of people across India consuming 3 or 4 times, almost 200 crores of cups being consumed. Assume that 50% is being consumed in the outside world, not at home. So it's something like 100 crores of cups being sold in the market for 7 to 8 rupees. So 800 to 7, 800, 700 crores rupees of business being done every day. And who is doing it? Roadside vendors,
Yes.
where we don't have any other option. We don't like their hygiene part, we don't like what they use, but we don't have any other option. So this is what we are trying to provide to our customers: the option, alternate option, and answering all the challenges that we observe in such unorganized sector. So I
Absolutely.
would suggest to consider this and reap the benefit. Thank you.
Absolutely, Sanjeevji. Thank you so much for the time that you spend. And I'd like to thank all our audience friends for being with us today. All your queries would be answered. And all of you looking at discussing, please reach out on the hotline number that we have placed in the chat box. And you also need to block your slot for 3rd of December. And our teams in Bombay, we have Manoj Panda and also some of our partners who are working for Bombay Chai. So you reach out to us and we'll come back to you with your convenient slot as requested. And Ashna, can I now request you to please take it over for the closing remarks?
Sure. So thank you so much, Sanjeev ji. Thank you so much, Sonia ma'am. Thanks all the dear friends for attending the webinar. Please connect with us at our business hotline number, which is 9717683838. Also write to us at feedback@franchiseindia.in. Share your valuable suggestion and feedback with us at our different social handles. Also, in case you want more expert advice, more industry insights from the management team of Franchise India, join Gaurav sir and Sonia ma'am at their LinkedIn platform. Link we have just shared on the screen. And tomorrow, under our prime time 12 p.m. webinar, we are inviting you to join us for the Man Company. Yes, you have heard it right. We are launching this big brand tomorrow at 12 p.m. where the team would come. It's the most awarded premium men grooming's essential brand, and they are offering two different kind of the business opportunity for you. They are already running their 27 successfully running outlets, and they have locked some of the premium location. So in case you are interested, please do registration with us. The registration is very simple to do it with us. Just connect with us either at our business hotline number or go to Facebook page where we have shared the registration link.
Ashna,
So
Pana
look
stuck
forward.
here. Your slide is stuck. If you can go on the last slide. We are stuck on the
Is this the last slide?
No, we are on the second slide. You can go on the last slide. We are stuck on the screen.
Okay, I'll reshare it. So please do registration with us to understand this particular business opportunity for you. Ma'am, is this okay?
Yeah.
Sure. So please join us tomorrow at 12 p.m. to understand this particular business opportunity. We look forward to have you in our tomorrow's webinar, 12 p.m. Thank you once again for joining in today. Have a very safe day. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, friends. Thank you, Sanjeev ji.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.